Welcome back to another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee, coming to you from the Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio, up here from our van parked outside the Saints practice facility, where we just watched basics of practice with the Saints. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned car, make sure you check out my guy, Matt Bowers. He will get you the best deals, the best customer care, the best everything. Tell them that NOF sent you. They'll take care of you. Go check them out at one of their many locations today. All right, we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. 6 days of practice, some trends starting to develop a little bit, starting to see what some things are going to be, and trying to figure out what's real, what isn't, and all of that. So today, Jake Haener was the starting quarterback in practice, and this topic is presented by Chabert Insurance, the Earhart agency. Make sure you check them out. Tell my guy Ryan that we sent you up there. They're going to save you money on any type of insurance that you need. So, Saints are going with 3 guys in their quarterback competition, and I don't think this is a fake thing right now. I don't think the Saints are doing service to Jake Haener. I don't think they're trying to protect his feelings or anything like that. I feel like this is truly a real representation of them trying to figure out what they have on their roster. And to do that, you got to play some guys. And I think that's what they're doing right now. Now, if you're asking me, somebody who's seen every practice that Haener's ever had, watched every game that he's ever done, been out here, been fooled, wondered if he could be the guy that could be their starting quarterback at various times, tried to wonder if he was developing. Last year, seeing him go through camp and really put together a great training camp, only get in the preseason games to see it wilt away, only to see him get into a regular season game and watch it wilt even further. It is a little bit frustrating to see him getting all the reps basically in a practice and Tyler Shuck getting basically none, because it does feel like everything they should be doing right now should be leading toward developing Tyler Shuck, trying to get him ready for potentially week 1, trying to develop him into being an NFL starting caliber quarterback. And any day that he's not practicing and getting 10 reps, 12 reps, whatever it is, it feels like a wasted opportunity. And the last practice they had, day 5, practice 5, before yesterday's walkthrough, Shuck had to get all the work just to get caught up to the same number of reps as Rattler. And now he's probably about 10 or 12 behind him. And a lot of those reps, well, not a lot, but some of them have come with the third team offense going against the third team defense. And that's just not as good a work as you're getting going against starters, going against the second team. So it is a little bit frustrating to see it happen. I understand. I get that Kellen Moore has to do it. I get that he has to figure out everything that's on his team. I just hope this isn't something that continues on for too long, because at a certain point, you got to start whittling this thing down to just being a 2-man race. And each guy's started 2 practices now. That's cool. I thought Haener had a pretty good day today. I thought he practiced well. I thought he handled his situations. He hit a bomb down the field to Chris Olave. He led a 2-minute drill that had a field goal chance, granted from 63 yards, but it was an attempt to get them into a scoring position, and he was pretty much successful. Trevor Penning, false start, set him back 5 yards, and that probably made the field goal mission impossible at that point. But you would like to see them start to whittle this down to a spot where you're looking at just the 2 guys. And I thought this was one of the better practices Rattler's had. He was 9 for 9 on his first 9 attempts. 10th attempt was a drop by the rookie running back, Devin Neal. Almost a 10 for 10 day, almost a perfect day in team. Did throw an interception in 7-on-7s. That's not necessarily what you want to see in that situation. Tried to go deep on a pass, underthrew it a little bit. Quincy Riley got him. Second time Quincy Riley's actually picked him off in this training camp. So that was a good day for him. Led it against the second teamers. I thought Tyler Shuck actually played okay today. I think he only had 5 pass attempts. Believe he hit on 3. I did think the ball was coming out quicker for him. I think it was the most decisive he's looked in any one of these practices to this point. That was an encouraging thing to see. So that was a good day for him. But most of the day was on Jake Haener. And you know, I think the one thing you have to worry about in this situation is that he practices in a fashion that keeps him in this longer than maybe somebody else would keep him in it, longer than a coach I had worked with him before would maybe keep him in it. And because he does practice well, like he is an awesome practicer. His processing in these practices is better than anybody on the team. It's when you get him into those game situations, things start to happen too fast for him. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not up in arms about it. I'm okay with it happening to this point, but I do think we are reaching a point where I want to see everything just be about Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, and go forward with that, because your best chance of having a future is with one of those two guys. And the odds are long on all of them. Second rounders don't become starters. There's only one Jalen Hurts in the league. Most of those guys in the second round don't become starters. Guys taken in the fifth round don't become starters. Guys taken in the fourth round don't become starters. But if you have a shot, it's those two. And they have the most pure talent. Those are the guys that I would like to see them go forward with. They're the ones that have the best shot at development. I do think as of today, Spencer Rattler's way ahead in this thing, but I don't think it's by any means at the end of the road. I don't think by any means you're making a call on it. I think it's just really about who's the best guy at the end of this thing. And if Tyler Shuck is going to have a shot at it, I think it's time wasted with him practicing with the third team offense. So hopefully at some point they start to bring that together, start to bring it back, get it down to two guys. Maybe when they go out to California, maybe when they get on the other side of this preseason game. Really, I wouldn't, if you ask me, I would rather not see Haener lead another practice with the first team, but we'll see where it goes from here. All right, moving into our next topic, presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Go check them out up on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. This was another good day, I thought, for Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think he's quickly starting to look like somebody that can be at the top of his game maybe this year, and we're starting to see him put together some quality practices. He had a really, really good rep today where he broke a pass up the sideline intended for Rashid Shaheed. We saw him be real physical in that situation. Lost a couple in one-on-ones, won a couple in one-on-ones. Those really aren't a defensive back drill, but I think his body of work as a whole has been a lot better. And we talked to him after practice, and he mentioned that he's down 12 pounds in his weight, and I think you can see it out on the field. Last year in training camp, he did look like a little bit heavy. He moved a little bit heavy. He was coming off a foot injury. Just never quite looked like himself in those practices. Didn't really look like a true representation of the guy that was really good at Alabama. I think if you put on that Bama tape, there were times throughout his college career where he really looked like the better cornerback out of the two. But then last year, it was just kind of like a ramp-up period for him. And I think by the end of the season, he started to look more like what you expected him to look like. Had a really good game against Mike Evans, had some good red zone reps against him in that Tampa Bay game. But I thought overall it wasn't necessarily everything that you expected, and he's lost 12 pounds. He's moving better. He looks like himself. He's making plays out here, and he's quickly becoming, I think, a spot of optimism in this training camp. Game situations are going to be game situations. You don't always know if it's going to translate exactly as you see it out here, but I think he is putting together some reps right now where you can look at him and think that maybe he can be a reason for brightness throughout the season for the Saints in this defense. I even think the way he's talking and carrying himself, you're seeing somebody that's having an easy time smiling now, whereas last year he kind of felt a little bit more reserved and less open. And he even said himself, he didn't really feel like himself last year personally. So seeing him out there playing well, smiling in these press conferences, making jokes, kind of moving a little bit lighter, I think it's a very good sign. And we've talked a lot on this show about how important it is for them to find answers at cornerback, and really it's really isolated the one spot because Alontae Taylor's in the last year of his contract. And you want to see Alontae play great for this season. You want to see Alontae play great so they have somebody that's worth, investing a lot of money in. If he plays well, that's great. But maybe Alontae doesn't come back, or he decides to go somewhere else, or there's no guarantee beyond this season that he's going to be in the mix for this defense. Kool-Aid is, and he can be a building block for this team, and they need him to be. You don't want to go into the first round next year and say, massive hole at pass rusher, massive hole potentially upcoming at wide receiver, massive hole potentially at cornerback. So if he can answer that, that would be a very good thing for the team. Signs are pointing positively, And I do think there are reasons for optimism for him to put that together. This is the same defense he played in college. He's comfortable in it. He knows how it looks. He knows how it feels. He knows what he's got to do in it. He's making plays right now. I thought he looked good in minicamp and OTAs. He's looking good out here. He brings some attitude to the field too, and I think that's a needed thing for this team right now. So great day for Kool-Aid McKinstry. Really a good first 6 practices for him. See if he can keep building on it. But I think right now that is a reason for optimism for this team. We'll be right back after this quick word from our sponsors. The Ochsner Orthopedics Walk-In Clinic is now open. Located at 1201 South Clearview Parkway, across from the Elmwood Shopping Center, this clinic provides convenient same-day care for a variety of orthopedic and sports injuries. No referral or appointment needed. Whether you need care for strains, sprains, fractures, sports injuries, or muscular pain, the team of orthopedic specialists offers care for patients 5 and older. Open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number 1 grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. I don't play favorites with our sponsors on the show, but one of my favorites for sure is RV Masters. You guys have been watching our show lately and you've seen our awesome new van. That thing is decked out. And the best part about it is I took it up to RV Masters and I was like, this is what I want to do, but I had no idea how I wanted to do it or how to get it done. And they took care of it from start to finish, brought me out for updates, were giving me new ideas, and they made it exceed my wildest dreams. And they will do the same thing for you. RV Masters offers full-service RV, motorhome, and travel trailer repair. They have preventative maintenance and service packages for your RVs, your AC, your generators. They specialize in solar and lithium upgrades, satellite TV, and Starlink. They'll take care of you if you get into a collision. Whatever you need, they got you. And I can speak from experience because they definitely had us on our new van. I cannot vouch for anyone more than I vouch for RV Masters. RV-Masters.com. Go check them out.
These gems don't just glisten, they pay. Play Lucky Gems from the lottery. Win up to $4,000. Keep it rolling straight to your wallet with Money Rolls. Win up to $15,000. Soak up wins with Sunny Days Bingo. Top prize is a whopping $50,000. Fun tickets, cool prizes. Play all 3 exciting games from the lottery.
Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide flavored whiskey, Ponchatoula strawberry, and Chilton County peaches in your favorite bars, stores, and restaurants. Hardhide Chilton County Peach Whiskey is a blend of aged wheat whiskey, light American whiskey, and fresh Chilton County peaches from Alabama's Durbin Family Farms. And Hardhide Strawberry Whiskey tells the story of a small town famous for strawberry farming. A delicious natural strawberry-infused 86-proof whiskey for whiskey lovers. Just look for the red and orange bottles in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football, coming to you from our van outside of the Saints practice facility, where we have been on site for the first 6 days of training camp. We got all your coverage all the time. NewOrleans.Football is the site. Make sure you go on there. We got video of the practice. We break it down on the site. That's a site exclusive. all of our news, our analysis. We do a daily practice recap. Mike and I do daily stories. We got a story up there right now breaking down all the data from training camp, who has completed the most passes, who's caught the most passes. And when you contextualize everything, we got a throw chart up there showing you where everybody's attacking the field and how that's coming together. Subscribers at NewOrleans.Football know that Chris Olave is leading camp in catches right now in team drills. Trayton Walsh, he's had 4 catches on 5 targets so far. So there's some sleepers out there. If you're on our site, you won't be sleeping on anyone because you'll know what's going on at training camp every single day. So make sure you're signed up for that. And one of the things we've been keeping a close eye on is the one-on-one pass rush stuff. It is the highlight of training camp. They started it yesterday. We break down those videos for you guys too on the site, so you can watch all that stuff if you're with us. Use the code NLF 20% off your first payment. But yeah, getting in onto that a little bit more. I think 2 other bright spots for the Saints right now are those 2 young guys, Calvin Banks and Tali Fuaga. Now, if you add that in with Kool-Aid, there's 3 potential things that are just glimmering a little bit for a team that needs glimmers anywhere they can get them. And if those 3 guys are good, you got building blocks. But for me, it really does come down to the trenches. The Saints have invested so much on their offensive line. They've got their 2 first-rounders out there, and they kind of have to be good for them to be where they want to be as an organization and as a team. And it's way too soon to declare anything, to build a statue. Nobody's doing that here right now. But I am optimistic about how both those guys are playing. Probably more so Banks than Fuaga, just because Banks just feels like he's doing everything right now. He looks good in these one-on-ones. You don't see him giving up really any pressures in the team drills. There was a couple things before they put the pads on where it felt like there was some pressure coming off of his side, particularly one day in the red zone. It felt like he was giving up a lot of pressure, but that's not real blocking at that point. But seeing him ISO it up in these one-on-ones, holding the zone, maybe even thriving on some snaps. He bodied Chris Rumph on one. Now, this is maybe one of the biggest highlights of this training camp. That looked awesome. He looks really good right now. He looks ready for the moment. I'm sure there's going to be growing pains throughout the season. There's probably going to be growing pains at some point during this camp when these guys are out here on day 17 and, this heat. Like, at some point, everybody hits a little bit of a wall in these camps. So I'm sure there's going to be adversity at some point. But so far to this point, I feel like he's doing everything right. I feel really good about where he's at and where he's going. And same thing for Fuaga. Now, I've seen him give up a couple things throughout the last 2 days. I thought Cam Jordan got him on a swim move in one-on-ones. Definitely Cam won that rep. And then he got him again during team drills, same move. But overall, he looks really good. There was a rep in the run game today where he got out in the space, had a nice block, was pulling over to the other side, made a play. Like, he looks good too right now. And he is switching back to the other side of the line. So that whole process of playing on one side got undone. He's moving to the other. I think at times, even though that's his more natural position, the one he played more snaps in on the right side in college, there have been some probably reacclimation period to it. But I think he looks awesome right now. And you put those 2 guys together, I think there's a chance for the Saints to successfully build what they want to be their identity. And it's them 2 tackles, and it's Eric McCoy in the middle, and then just adequate guard play at the other 2 spots. I think that Cesar Ruiz kind of had a rough first day in pads. I thought Penny looked pretty good his first day in pads. I thought he looked pretty good again today in one-on-ones. The big setback for him is when they were in the 2-minute drill, he has a false start. He has to come out the field. He gets replaced by Radens, costs him 5 yards. Saints get moved back 5. They missed the field goal from 63. That's points off the board. That's stuff that can't happen, but it's stuff that can happen on day 6 of camp, and you aren't really worried about it. I think that Penning's going to have some growing pains. I think Banks is going to have growing pains. I think Fuaga is, but I would say in the case of Penning, I think he's further along right now on day 6 of camp than he was last year trying to play tackle and being out of position on the opposite side of the line from where he had played throughout his career. He looks more comfortable. He looks more confident. And again, there's a trend here with a bunch of these guys. Like, his attitude seems better. He seems like he feels better about what he's doing. If he feels better about what he's doing, I think you're going to feel better about how he's playing because he's going to be playing better. I think his mood represents his play on the field. And all these guys, they look really good. I think the one thing I like most about Banks is just who he is as a person too. When you listen to him talk, when you see how he carries himself, he feels like somebody, not right now because he's a rookie, but he feels like somebody that you can look at and say, this guy is going to be just a straight up foundational piece of the culture of the team as well, on top of just being a foundational piece of the offensive line. He feels like a future leader in the making. He feels, it's like he has that like CEO vibe to him, sort of like how Teron had it. So I think that's a guy that's going to be culturally good for the team as well going forward. And if the team's growing with the young guy right now, Imam Fuaga, I think they're probably in good hands going forward. Got to see it on the field. Got to see it on Sundays. Nobody's taking a real NFL snap yet, but well, at least neither one of these guys at their current positions. So there'll be some proof that needs to be done, but I feel good about betting on their futures right now, just based on what we've seen through the first week of camp, mini camp, OTAs, all that stuff. So something to feel good about right now. And one other thing to feel good about, I mentioned it at the top. I feel like this was the best day cohesively, quarterbacks 1 through 3, how they played today. I thought Haener looked good. I thought Rattler looked amazing. And I thought the ball came out the fastest it has for Shuck. You'd probably like that order to be a little bit different, flipped on its head, or Rattler to top, Shuck second. But I think it was a little bit of a step in the right direction, especially for Shuck, who just, you need to see things start happening quicker. Things start happening quicker for him. I think then maybe he starts pushing it down the field a little more. It opens up. It isn't everything 10 yards and in. It starts becoming a little bit beyond that. So a couple things trending in the right direction out here at camp. We'll see how it comes together. And yeah, that's where it's at right now. Our next topic is presented by Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey and Chilton County Peach. Saints, it's still a little bit hard to project how some things are coming together, but I do feel like there is a hierarchy forming at wide receiver on that depth chart. And I think obviously number 1 is Chris Olave. I think obviously number 2 is Rashid Shaheed. And I think obviously number 3 is Brandon Cooks, who, well, he hasn't necessarily taken over a practice or anything yet. I think he's been a very nice addition as that number 3 guy. He's made some plays. He looks like he shows up when he needs to show up. I thought one of the coolest things I've seen so far in camp came after practice today. It's like 175 degrees out here. Everybody's just sweating, melting. People are dragging themselves basically back into the indoor. Down on the one end of the field, there's the developmental period where the third teamers get in and an extra set of reps, do about 4 plays. Shuck was leading that. Down in the other end zone, Cooks has Mason Tipton, Shaheed, and Olave with him, and he's got them running back and forth, doing gashers across the back of the end zone, one end to the other. And man, I'm telling you, like, just watching that thing, I had to go in and just like slam 60 ounces of water to feel like a normal person again. He's got them doing that after they were running and sweating throughout that practice. I think that culture that he's helping them form is going to pay dividends down the road. Got them together for throwing sessions throughout the offseason, all that stuff. So I think he's been a huge culture guy for the Saints. And that was a good example of it that is still carrying over. Even in the hardest moments, he's got them pushing a little bit more. But I think those are clearly the top 3. There's a little question as far as where it goes from there, but they've done this thing where they get kind of the A team and the B team on opposite ends of the field, and there's been 6 receivers every single time up with the A team, and it's those 3, and then it's Tipton, and then it's Dante Pettis, and it's Cedric Wilson, and then I think there's the line of demarcation. Bub Means has been up there a couple times. He's been on the other field a couple times. Bub has not made a lot of plays in team drills, only 2 catches to this point. He needs to start bringing it, I think, quickly if he wants to make sure he's in that group. Now, I don't think there's any separation as far as like, this is insurmountable. He can't get to it. As I was saying about the QBs, it's who looks the best on the last day. So it isn't like Bub is super far behind, but I think if he starts making more and more plays, he'll get some more chemistry with the receiver or with the quarterbacks. That leads to more plays leads to more production leads to a spot on the depth chart. It would be good to see him get that going quick. And I think there's a clear advantage for like him or Kevin Austin Jr. I think they need that other body type. If one of those 2 guys catches fire, there is a way for him to be on the team, because I think the top 3, Pettis and Tipton, are all kinds of similar players. I like Cedric Wilson's odds to make the team because of his blocking ability. You need that stuff in the run game, and that's something that I think is lacking to a certain degree right now. So that is the top 6, I think, at this point. I think there's a good battle still brewing here, but there is a little bit of separation running. Now, the running back depth chart is crazy right now. I've seen good things from Devin Neal, Velus Jones. Alvin obviously is number 1. Every time Kendre Miller carries the ball, it makes you take notice. You see him. Cam Akers takes a carry, and you're like, who's that? Velus Jones takes a carry, and you're kind of looking to see the number. There's no mistake when Kendre Miller touches the ball, but I think Alvin's clearly running number 1. Velus Jones had like a 25-yard touchdown today on a draw in the 2-minute, and they did a good job blocking it. He did a good job hitting the lane. The best part of that play, though, was Kellen Moore just calling it with like 30 seconds left on the clock. Situation, calls for a pass. They're clearly looking for pass on defense. They're clearly pushing everything back a little bit to try to prevent them from scoring a touchdown. And Kellen Moore just made the gutsy call to call a draw at that moment, and he gutted him. And Velus got all the way to the end zone before anyone got to him. It was a perfect play call. That was a highlight of the camp. The call, best thing I think Kellen Moore's done so far since he got here. It was an amazing way to take advantage of that situation. But that depth chart, I think, is still all the way up in the air. I don't think that there is the clear order of guys coming into play. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire also, I think, is winning that, the battle between the vets, him and Cam Akers. I think it's Clyde clearly ahead in that situation. But I think that one's still forming. I think it's still out of focus. And we'll see how it forms from here. That's probably something that we're going to get a better gauge of in games when they're actually tackling to the ground. And I think in this situation, sometimes it's hard to tell. And I think back to 2017, we were out here at this camp every single day. We all knew Alvin was good. Alvin was clearly a very good ball carrier, very clearly had something to offer. Not the fastest guy in the world, though. And he's making plays, but he's not making Alvin-type plays. And you get into that preseason, and all of a sudden people are trying to tackle him, and no one can tackle this guy. And he's bouncing off everybody, and he's making huge plays in the preseason game. And that's when we knew he was special and they were going to have a 1-2 punch. I think we need to see people trying to tackle these guys, gauge it that way, see people trying to take them to the ground, see who stays up, see who keeps going. And I think that's when we'll really know if Velus Jones is the real deal, or, Kendre's picking up this offense better, it looks like, but is he that much better in those situations than everybody else? I think when we see it, we'll know, but I think we need that to gauge that. Wide receiver is a little bit easier to gauge, and I think that one's shaping up a little bit more. We're going to take one more quick break, and then we'll be back with the Get Gordon question of the day.
Big news from the home team, introducing our newest sponsor, the Mortgage Brothers. With over 30 years of combined experience, the Mortgage Brothers are the quarterbacks of home lending, calling the right plays to get you across the goal line. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned vet, they'll coach you through every down and make sure you feel like part of the team. They're backed by Cross Country Mortgage, the #1 retail lender in the nation, so there's no loan playbook they can't run. FHA, VA, conventional, RD, and more. They're lifelong season ticket holders, local guys who know the field and your market, and their online application takes less than 10 minutes. Why fumble your mortgage with some online lender who's never even watched your team play? Stick with the Mortgage Brothers, the trusted pros who play to win. Mention NOF and get $500 back in lender credit toward your closing costs. That's money back in your pocket when it counts. Visit mortgagebros.money and start shopping with confidence. Because with Mortgage Brothers, it's always no flags, no fumbles, just smooth closings every single time.
Slide into summer with New Orleans Hamburger Seafood's new sliders. Get 2 each of cheeseburger, buffalo chicken, meatball, or chicken and waffles served with a side of garlic herb fries. Starting at $9.99 now at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Why should I get Gordon?
Because when you're hurt, you need money. And I fight for the people of Southeast Louisiana every day. I got a client who injured their neck in a car wreck, $250,000. Another client was hit by a big truck and needed back surgery. I got them $700,000, and they deserved every single penny.
That's what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't I get Gordon?
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, just call me, New Orleans. Get it done.
Call 504-800-8888.
You ever take a bite of something and immediately think, yeah, I'm coming back for this? Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon restaurant just added some new dishes,
and man, they crushed it. The shrimp and crawfish pistolets, golden and stuffed with bold Cajun flavor. Fried oyster tacos, crispy, fresh with the perfect kick. And the soft shell crab Alfredo, creamy, rich, and absolutely worth the order. They're open 7 days a week, and they deliver late. Bobby Heber's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Delicious food, superior service. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com.
Here at the Queen Casino, indulgence knows no bounds. Prepare your taste buds for an extraordinary culinary journey. Start your day at Capital Coffee. Craving something different? Three Walks Noodle Bar offers a tantalizing selection of Asian delights. At 1717 Kitchen and Cocktails, savor American cuisine with a twist. Or ascend to the loft for an elevated experience. Enjoy artesian grazing boards and exquisite craft cocktails. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football. It is now time for the Get Gordon question of the day, presented by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. The question today is, are the Saints in bad shape at tight end? Foster Moreau's hurt right now. Taysom Hill's hurt right now. Both those guys are on PUP. I think Foster is closer to getting back to the field than Taysom, but both of them are starting to get some work in, so the light at the end of the tunnel might be coming on at least a little bit. We'll see how they go from there. The Saints need those guys back on the field. And then today, Trayton Welch, who's been having a good camp, left practice early with an injury. He's going to be out. Kellen Moore didn't seem too worried about it, but we'll see. And then Juwan Johnson left practice early as well. I just heard from a source on Juwan. He's going to miss a couple days, but not a serious injury. So it sounds like they dodged a bullet there. But I think definitely this is a position where they are a little bit soft, and these injuries do create a problem. I asked Kellen Moore about it after practice today. He said they'll look and see if they need to do anything with the roster. If it's not a huge deal, they can just kind of work out of different personnel groupings, be less tight end reliant for the next couple days, and then go from there. So we'll see if they bring in another guy to eat up some practice reps, get them through the abyss, just really based on what the health outlook is for both those guys. But I don't think it's a position of strength. However, I do see some young talent here right now. I do see some good things from Michael Jacobson, and he's a former basketball player. I think it's his third camp now. He always looks good this time of year, but he looks especially good this year, and he had a really nice play up the seam one day from Rattler, so I'd like to see what he can do over time. Trayton Welch has been a bright spot in these practices. He's made a lot of plays. Juwan hasn't done a ton of stuff in team, but he's been a killer in 7-on-7. I'm not really worried about him. So there's some ways that you can see some production. I thought Foster Moreau finished last season really, really well. He's obviously a solid blocker. I think he's obviously a really good team guy, a really good culture guy. So there's going to be some stuff there, but it is a position overall that has some things up in the air. Now, my thoughts on Noah Fant are well documented. I like the idea of the Saints going forward with their young guys. But if you are trying to win your games and you're trying to be the best team possible, trying to get him in here is something that does make sense if your goal is to win the NFC South. And obviously that is Mickey Loomis's goal every year. And look, hard to disagree with what anybody does in a rebuild. Like, there's one way that works and a million ways that don't. So whatever the answer is the right answer. We all have opinions on how it should happen. I don't think anyone's right. I don't think anyone's wrong. The only one is the one at the end. They say, man, that worked. And then everybody else is wrong about it. So my thoughts on that could be misguided. Anyone's thoughts could be misguided. But if you are trying to build the best possible team, an offense with Noah Fant and Juwan Johnson is incredibly interesting. You get two big body guys out there. Your 12 personnel becomes really hard to defend in the passing game. You got two big guys that you got to try to figure out on the inside. So you'd want to probably try to bring some stuff in between the numbers to slow down that attack. And then all of a sudden you're looking on the outside and you got Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave or Brandon Cooks or Mason Tipton or Dante Pettis. It's all these guys that can really, really fly down the field. Then you got Alvin coming out of the backfield. That's an offense. If you're blocking well and you have decent quarterback play, that could be incredibly interesting. So that one is one that makes sense. But Fant came here, he didn't sign. He's continuing to take his visits. That's usually a good sign that the right money and the right opportunity hasn't presented itself yet. We'll see how it comes together. The tight end definitely is one of those positions that I think has a question mark, but I do like some of the young guys. I like Jacobson on the practice squad or maybe the end of the roster. Same thing for Welch. I think Taysom, Foster, Juwan are definitely your guys that are making the team. Jack Stoll, coaching staff brought him over. He's probably got a good chance of making the team as a blocker. But there are some young, intriguing options, and we'll see how it progresses throughout camp. I appreciate you guys for watching this show. Appreciate you guys for subscribing to the site. Make sure you do that if you aren't on there yet. If you aren't going to sign up for the site, at least leave a review, give us 5 stars, leave a comment on YouTube, subscribe to the page. Whatever you got to do, we'll be out here again tomorrow for camp and for all your coverage. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.